Distracted driving results in 70 deaths a year in Minnesota. A group of White Bear Lake High School students is getting out of their comfort zone to encourage safe driving among their peers. We'll bring you up close to the mock crash.
A chili competition raised money and awareness for emergency volunteers. We'll have the spicy details. Plus, we'll find out why it's never too soon to learn self-defense. These stories and more are coming right up.
Hi, I'm Rick Current.
And I'm Tracy Minarchuk. Welcome to Lake Area Beat. We're out near South Campus where we're going to be talking about a variety of student topics. But first, I introduced my new co-host last month. So have you gotten any feedback or advice from friends, family?
Well,
any mocking?
A little bit. My wife, who's a full-time firefighter at Roseville Fire Department on the C shift, has the whole C shift signed up and they watched the first episode, and she's going to make them watch every episode, so I'm sure I'll get some advice and maybe a little mocking also.
Well, excellent. Well, not the mocking part, but I'm glad that we have some more viewers. So welcome, C shift. Welcome to you. Thanks
Yes.
for coming back.
Welcome C shift and get to work. Well, students will be celebrating prom, graduation, and parties this spring and summer. It's part of the high school experience, but unfortunately, these events can bring about risky driving behavior among teenagers.
White Bear Lake High School students acted out a mock crash scenario that can quickly become all too real.
No, it's not named Nancy. I didn't make it. That car's name is Nancy. Here in the caravan. Okay, can we just talk about something real quick? Khloe Kardashian. She got cheated on. Yes. There's another girl that's claimed that she's having a baby with her.
Taylor. Andy, wake up. Joe.
Looks pretty bad. We need help now, please.
Taylor.
Are you okay? I can't get out of the car.
Ready to rescue. To respond to 911 Night Road. Multiple vehicles, multiple injuries.
What's going on here?
Extrications required.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry.
922 and 911.
What's your name, dear?
Blessing.
Blessing. How about you?
Bryn.
Bryn.
Is Tiffany gonna be okay? I'm begging.
We got help coming. We got help coming. What were you doing?
Yeah, I do. No. Stop waking up.
Out, door stuck. There's all the car. They all the cars told me that they had some drinks. They had some drinks earlier, and then it happened so quick.
What car were you in?
I was in the truck over there. We just saw it happen. We pulled up and saw what we could
Were
do.
you in the car as well? Okay. Okay, and you just pulled up after it happened?
Yeah, and none of them were responding, and the other door's locked.
Okay, that's okay. We got people to help.
Okay,
That's right.
okay.
Take some deep breaths for me. Thank you for stopping, okay?
Medical examiner for DOA and working
Ready to come up on stretcher?
check you out, okay?
We got one partially ejected. What happened?
And all of a sudden, everything just happened.
Okay. Are you okay? Does anything hurt anywhere?
No.
Okay. All right. Can you stand up for me? Have you guys been drinking?
Just a little.
How much is a little?
I don't know. Just a couple shots.
Okay.
1 1,000. 2 1,000.
Right foot.
2 7 8.
Blow, 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 blow. You know what the legal limit is in Minnesota?
No.
No, it's .08. Okay. You're a .16. You're twice the legal limit. Okay. So if you turn around for me, you're going to be under arrest for DWI. Go ahead and take a seat.
358, you're arrested.
Where were you guys going to?
Taylor's mom?
I am.
I have some bad news for you today. There's been a car accident.
No.
Taylor was in the car and she was killed.
No.
We're sorry to have to witness.
That can't be true. It can't be true.
She had her ID on her. I was at the scene. I come and talk with you. I maybe we'll be able to give you some more details.
Sergeant Eric Gadboy joins us to talk about upcoming enforcement initiatives and what patrols will be looking for as we approach the 100 deadliest days. Sergeant Gadboy, thanks for being here.
Hi.
It's only your second time being here.
Second time being here.
We appreciate you being on the show, but what is this 100 deadliest days? We've talked about it before, but maybe remind our viewers.
Sure, so the 100 deadliest days generally refers to the summer months. So historically, from June to August, you're going to see an increase in accident with injuries on the roadways. And there are a couple different underlying theories with that. Obviously, with the nicer weather, there's more traffic on the roadway, and with no school, you might see more teen drivers out there. And also with the, like I said, nicer weather, sometimes it might encourage people to speed a little bit more than they should.
Window down, music playing.
Oh yeah, yep. And of course there are parties and things like that, barbecues that people love to go to that, they get kind of shelled up in the wintertime and people want to get out and have fun.
Yep.
With all this extra concentration, what can people expect of the upcoming months?
Well, continued strong enforcement. The Department of Public Safety is still overseeing the Ramsey County Traffic Safety Initiative. And a lot of times what you'll see is anywhere from 10 to 20 cops in one specific city or host agency looking for the impaired driver. But it's not necessarily just the impaired driver. They're also looking for seatbelt infractions, speed. We actually just last Sunday finished up a 2-week distracted driving wave. So, and you could have multiple agencies from all over Ramsey County participating in that. So it's really a force multiplier.
So they may see other police vehicles from other cities other than just White
So
Bear.
you could have Maplewood officers coming to White Bear or vice versa down in St. Paul. It really depends on where they want to increase the focus on. And the idea is basically to show people that we're out there and maybe to kind of avert some of that from happening.
Correct.
And it's not a secret. We want people to know because we want them to obey traffic laws and not be distracted and not drive drunk, right?
Yes, for sure. That's the idea, high visibility. That's kind of the motto of it.
And you've been honored multiple times for DWI enforcement. Tell us a little bit about that, and you've won some awards for that.
Yes, so me personally, I like to focus on DWIs. For me, it's an instant gratification, knowing that I could have potentially stopped or averted a traffic accident or fatality, things like that. And of course, in hindsight, it's kind of hard to tell if something like that happens, but or were to happen, I should say. But just the idea of it, it is a lot of work that goes into it. They take some time, and they're not always the easiest to find. So, but when you do find it and the work that you put into it, just knowing that there's a potential that you could have maybe even saved somebody's life or making a bad decision.
Save their life or an innocent person on the road that doesn't know that there's an impaired driver coming at them.
What advice would you give parents with their high schoolers with all this stuff coming up, graduation, prom, parties, all that stuff coming up?
One thing I'd always instill is just make sure you have a good relationship with them and you know where they're going. And don't be afraid to check up on them too. And there's a number of ways you can do that besides physically actually going to make sure they are where they say they are. Everybody knows that's one of the oldest tricks in the book, right? So say you're going over to that person's house, but you're really not because you're going to do something naughty over there. And there are apps. Nowadays you can actually get apps on your phone to track your kids. And they don't even know you're checking up on them. There's specifically traffic apps that'll show you their fastest speed they're going. It'll actually tell you if they're using their phone while they're driving, which if they have a provisional license, they're not supposed to be.
Right.
So that's just one way of doing it. And of course, I always like to say open up the communications too. So if they did make a bad decision, have them feel free to give you a call to help them out.
Great.
So.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for being here. And hopefully we're really bored on nights and not making traffic stops, right?
No.
We're going to take a break, but first, here's an important reminder about honoring our first responders this May.
There are more than 900,000 sworn law enforcement officers serving in the United States. 129 were killed in the line of duty in 2017. I'm Sergeant John Vetty, reminding you to please remember the sacrifice during National Police Week. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy declared May 15th National Police Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week of May 15th National Police Week. The week is marked with special events locally, nationally, to honor both the living and fallen law enforcement officers. White Bear Lake will host this year's Law Enforcement Memorial Service, honoring the survivors of fallen officers in Ramsey County. An estimated 40,000 people attend the National Memorial Service in Washington, D.C. every year. For events at our state capitol, check out the Minnesota Law Enforcement Memorial Association's website. Although an officer's sacrifice should always be remembered, please take the time to thank law enforcement for their duty during Police Week. I can tell you as a police officer, we really do appreciate it. I'm John Vetty. I'll see you next time.
Starts the briefing now. It's going to see responder vehicles, funeral home, medical examiner will line up on the north side of South Campus. at 1:50, we're going to have a flashbang that's deployed underneath the bleachers. Stand by me. Stand by me.
Welcome back. White Bear Lake students took to protest recently as part of the March for Our Lives movement.
Mayor Joe Emerson used their march to City Hall as an opportunity to start a conversation about school safety, and she joins us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Mayor. We appreciate it.
First, congratulations on your re-election last fall.
Thank you for that. I'm glad I have the opportunity to serve another 4 years.
The students marched to City Hall on February 23rd. What was their concerns?
Their concerns were, it was right after the Parkland shooting, and their concerns were the school safety, and we had students from the North Campus and the South Campus, and they came in. I brought them in because I wanted them to understand what cities can and cannot do with laws, who has to be the one that does it. So, but I wanted to hear their concerns.
And I thought it was really nice what we did as a whole. We made sure that they were safe marching up there, and you welcomed them into City Hall, not just out in the parking lot, and spoke to them and gave them some of your time, kind of explained things to them. Excuse me. And you asked them, they asked you questions, and it was kind of it seemed like it was a benefit for them, that they learned some things as well, not just protesting, getting their point across, but I think they learned some things.
I hope so. That was my intent, because I thought perhaps they don't know, and it turned out they didn't. They weren't aware. So it was a good learning experience, and they were very well prepared. The two leaders of the group had statements prepared that they read, and I had Councilman Dan Jones had come over, so the two of us, I explained briefly about the law and then let them ask questions.
And so, what advice did you give them, though? Because they had ideas, and I think they had a direction or a thoughts in mind, but when they got there, did that change?
Well, I explained to them, that they should take their concerns to the school board, because, they explained to me. I asked at one point, how many of you don't feel safe in your school? And when they all raised their hands, my stomach just dropped. And I thought, oh boy. So I explained the process of coming. I said, yes, you could come before the city council, but we're kind of powerless to change it. It will have to be state and federal law. And I explained how we had a list of the elected officials, both at the state and federal level, that we handed to them, contact information. So they had that. And then I suggested, if they go before the school board, be brief, have your things written out, and I said, do not get emotional, remain calm, and when you do the thing. And so I was hopeful that they would be able to go ahead and do that, because it is a concern, and they had some understandings about gun laws and what works. And I don't know all the gun laws, but I tried as best I could to explain what we can and cannot do in the city.
Right.
After talking with the students, how optimistic are you about our youth and the future of White Bear?
I'm very optimistic. I really think this generation might get the things changed. I mean, because I did encourage them. I said, when the media goes away, don't stop doing this. That's when it's going to be harder, and you're going to have to continue. I said, if you're going to do this, then stay the course.
Yeah, it sounds like you gave them some very good advice. They walked away with some resources, some stuff that they need to follow up on, not just put on somebody else's shoulders, but something that they want to, if they want to, they need to continue.
That was my hope, that they would continue. And it was interesting. I don't know which of the TV crews, I didn't even realize they were out there, and he told somebody, I think he told our assistant city manager, we were the first city that invited them in the building. And I thought, well, it never occurred to me not to invite them in the building. This is their city hall too.
Right.
And I said, it never occurred to me that you wouldn't invite them in.
Right.
So it was an interesting experience with them, and I'm hopeful.
Well, you did a wonderful job. I've heard a lot about it, and I think our city handled it very well, and unfortunately, a little bit different than some other cities and government entities have handled it. So
yeah, I think they missed an opportunity with these kids.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
White Bear Lake Police invited college-bound females to learn about potential threats they may face as they head to campus and some tools to defend themselves. Here's a look at what they learned.
Put your arm up, have the other person grab from the top, tell back, down that.
The best thing that I love about the group and the class is when they come in, the girls are all kind of sitting there and they're kind of meek and shy, and when they leave, they're ready to go fight somebody.
I bet.
So hopefully appropriately though, we taught them some.
How many people were in the class?
We had 32. So we had to break them up into smaller groups, but they had a lot of fun. And we're looking at maybe making it a 2-night because they really like the hands-on part of it.
Good. Is this the first time the class is offered?
No. It's like the 4th time that we've done it, and we've done it like twice a year, but it's a little difficult to get everybody's schedule together, so we're going to try to do once a year at least.
Great. I heard that my boss, the fire chief's daughters, were in there, so I'll have to ask them what they thought of it, if they enjoyed it.
Yes. Please do. Let me know.
I will.
For next time.
Coming up after the break, a heated competition raises money for a volunteer group.
And a panel of celebrity judges enjoys their taste testing duties. Earlier, we brought you the mock crash, but here's a reminder of how a distracted driver caused a real-life tragedy for an area family.
I need to do something to make my daughter's tragedy matter to other people, and I think she helps me get through those.
Tom Geltz has spent 30 years serving as a safety consultant, speaking to Fortune 500 companies about safety topics including distracted driving. But now his speeches include his family's own story.
For me personally, it's very frustrating. We, as safety consultants, we're out there trying to prevent these type of tragedies from occurring. Now, it's affected me personally.
On February 29, 2016, Wendy Geltz grew impatient, waiting for her 22-year-old daughter Megan to return home. And then she received the worst call a parent can get.
They just asked me if my daughter was Megan, and they told me she was involved in a very serious car accident, not just, and they wouldn't really give me any information. So when they just asked if we could make it down there quickly to Regions, and we pretty much dropped everything and left right away, and she was already gone at that point.
Megan, a certified nursing assistant and mother to 3-year-old daughter Paisley, was stopped at a crossroads when a 21-year-old man texting while driving hit and killed her.
The whole roof was removed.
Gone. It was just like buckled all the way back.
He was driving on this 2-lane highway when he veered into oncoming traffic, went into a ditch, and drove about 75 yards before launching into the air and landing on top of Megan's car, tipping it over.
There was no skid marks at all.
It took 3 seconds.
He proceeded to travel another 75 yards into nearby woods. Megan, who turned 22 just 10 days earlier, was 13 weeks pregnant.
She was the most energetic person in the family, always doing goofy things, and we would have dance parties with her daughter Paisley in the house, and very caring, adored her daughter. I mean, Paisley was everything to her.
According to the United States Department of Transportation, 660,000 drivers use cell phones every day. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say 8 people are killed each day by distracted drivers in the United States, while nearly 1,200 are injured. Tom believes a 3-prong approach is necessary for change, including education, enforcement, and stricter legislation. The man who killed their daughter was recently charged with a gross misdemeanor.
We need to rise up and do something about this before some of you are going to suffer the same fate.
The Geltzes say their home is very quiet without Megan and Paisley, who both lived at their home before Megan was killed. They hope by speaking publicly about her death, they can help save lives and spare another family the grief they deal with daily.
Paisley will never get to know her mother. And she was 3. She's only going to remember her with videos and pictures and what we share with her now. And I feel I feel the most hurt for her.
CERT, or Community Emergency Response Team, is a group of trained volunteers in White Bear Lake who help assist first responders in an emergency.
They received some much-deserved recognition during a fundraiser, and it looks like some lucky judges took their taste testing duties seriously.
I've had some chili, I've tried them out, and now I'm coming back to pick my favorites because although they are all dynamite, I definitely had my favorites and I wanted to come back and try those. Thank you.
Trying to figure out some of the secret ingredients in some of them because there's certain flavors, they have such distinct flavors that
I have to try this for you. I didn't even grab a plate.
Nice, that's okay. People are coming back and taking 2 the next time and saying, oh my gosh, this is really good. And I advise them put it on burgers, that sort of thing, chili burgers and whatnot. This is a chili for all occasions.
what I liked about CERT personally is they understand they can't be in every neighborhood, you know, if something happens. And so I learned where to turn off the gas, the water, and things like that, so I can do it at my own house and then branch out to the neighbors and stuff. So having all those bodies out in the community, just kind of being an arm.
We're just like family. You know, it's just a great partnership, and we're here for them, they're here for us.
I couldn't go back and vote again. I just had an A on all of them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Every one of them was delicious.
So the winner is actually the host, Adam.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
So was there a rule on how much you could eat? Like 1 cup or 1 spoonful, or?
We were all given 1 cup of each of the chilies, and then we taste tested them, and then we wrote down, ranked them 1 to 6, and then we got together and picked a winner. They were all delicious. I can't handle hot stuff, and luckily there was only one that had a little heat to it. Luckily, otherwise I would have been drinking a lot of water.
But it looked like fun, and it was for a good cause.
Oh, yes, it was. And they treated us like celebrities up at the table.
Nice,
so.
fun.
The CERT members love being involved and enjoy working with our first responders. To learn how you can be part of the CERT family, contact Police Captain Dale Hager.
That wraps up this edition of Lake Area Beat. I'm Tracy Minarchuk.
And I'm Rick Current. Make sure to visit Lake Area Beat's Facebook page and let us know what you think, but only if it's nice.
Exactly. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.